Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday. This is my last update about the winter storm that's going to arrive tomorrow because I'm flying out to New Orleans in the morning for the annual Meteorological Society's conference. So you figure it hasn't snowed here in about 1,200 days, and 6 hours before it's going to, Terry leaves for a conference. So I'm not bitter at all. Anyway, I'm just going to walk you through some of the data just to show you what to expect across the Charlotte and the Carolinas and our southern region. And so the best way to do this is just show you all the data. So across the top here, these are all the different models, a lot of high resolution models now, some of the big global models, and just give you a sense of timing and how much and what to expect. Like every winter weather event here, it seems, there's going to be a variety of precipitation types, and depending on where you are, you're going to see varying amounts of precipitation. So this is tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. So you can see snow and frozen precipitation is just on our doorstep. So it should be snowing across much of Tennessee, northern Alabama, and North Georgia. You can see over here in the Charlotte region, we're still not seeing any snow. If I kind of pan through all these models, they pretty much all show the same thing. Very similar structure. So it's not going to be snowing in the morning or anything like that. If I step this one time frame forward, this is now 1 in the afternoon, and you start to see some of these outer fringes are starting to reach, the upstate of South Carolina, certainly, and certainly around the Charlotte metro. But the thing is the air is very dry outside, so it's going to take a while for precipitation to saturate where we are down here and for snowflakes to reach the ground. So I don't think it'll be snowing at 1 in the afternoon. Now, there might be a few flurries that are starting to pop in by 2, 3 in the afternoon. But if I step this to one more time frame, this is now about 4 in the afternoon. Now we're starting to get into the heavier bands of precipitation. So I do think by 4 or 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, depending on which model you look at, you can see the snow should start arriving here sometime mid to late afternoon. And pretty much they all show this. Now, I will say some of the models, in particular the NAM model, shows a lot of this starting almost immediately as sleet. And, some people discount this model, but in the past, it's traditionally done really well with its vertical thermodynamics. So just be warned that it may start out as a sleet snow kind of a mix. But you can see pretty much every model has it starting around that time, around the 4 or 5 o'clock time frame, which most of these are at least snow or a snow sleet kind of a mix. But then quickly, if I switch this to 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, you can see the area is right along this border of like the snow sleet region, the purple being sleet. You can see the models. This is a high resolution model here, has the sleet right over Charlotte. You can again see some sleet over us. And so depending on which model you look at, some of them are a little bit warmer, some of them are a little bit colder. Some of them have sleet, some of them have more of a snow sleet mix. So it's kind of a mixed bag at this point. But one thing's for certain, by later on, so this is like 9, 10 o'clock in the evening, almost every model now has us into either sleet or freezing rain. So it's going to quickly change over from snow to sleet to freezing rain, and you can see pretty much every model agrees that there's going to be some sort of frozen precipitation. And if I do this one last time step, this is now 1 in the morning. The precipitation is starting to leave the area, but you can see pretty much every single model has us getting freezing rain at the end. So I think it's going to be one of those where we might get a burst of snow late afternoon, quickly changing to sleet, quickly changing to freezing rain. Now, what I will say is the total amount of precipitation that's going to fall through this whole event, if you look at this across the models, we're only going to get 3/10, 4/10, half an inch, something like that, 4/10. 5/10, 4/10. So most models have us getting somewhere between 0.3 and 0.5 inches of liquid precipitation. That's if it fell as rain, which if it all fell as snow, that would only be 3 to 5 inches of snow. So we're certainly not going to get that with all this ice. So maybe an inch of snow sleet will accumulate, and then a glaze of ice on top of that. Now, the more freezing rain we get, obviously, the more treacherous the roads tend to be. It's going to be icy. It's going to be below freezing throughout much of this event in the upper 20s to near 30 degrees. And so it's still going to be hazardous traveling. Now, if you look at the total amount of snowfall that some of these models are outputting, let me just switch this to snowfall. And again, if I just pan this across, you can see the Charlotte area. The Euro model has us getting 2 inches of snow. The GFS 1.5 inches of snow. This model 2.5 inches of snow. This one only 0.8 to 0.9. No snow according to these models, because these models believe it's going to start off as sleet, which is a possibility. 3 inches of snow. So this is 1 to 3 inches of snow. But then if I switch this to the ice amount, so this is total amount of freezing rain here, you can see there's a variety of options for freezing rain. So we might get 1 to 2 tenths of freezing rain, which is not great. And so I think the best forecast starts off as some flurries and some light snow initially, mid to late afternoon, transitions pretty quickly, I think, to a sleet snow, then eventually all sleet kind of regime, and then quickly after that changes to a freezing rain, and we get a glaze of ice on top of that in the Charlotte area. Now, depending on where you are, if you're a little bit south of the city, a little bit north of the city, southwest of the city, it's going to be very different as you travel around the region. So just expect a mixed bag of precipitation. The total amount of precipitation I don't think is going to be huge. This is going to be one of those major winter storm that's crippling or something like that. But it will certainly be treacherous out there. So just be careful with all that. So again, just to reiterate, 1 to 2 inches probably is a good forecast of sleet/snow, and then a glaze of ice on top of that seems likely. But again, where you are really controls that. So be safe out there. I'll be traveling to New Orleans, so you'll have to send me pictures of whatever happens because I won't be here. So take care, have a good weekend, and I'll see y'all later.